like a lot of desperate people would turn to the Boom Boys because it's like they're not soldiers.
Yeah. And that's how we're going to start the podcast. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for tuning into Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. We're talking our D&D game.
Yeah.
I hit the record while you were
well.
mid-sentence of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Changing things up. Changing the
Right.
format up.
Yeah, so you're not giving me a warning.
Changing the format. Plus, also, I think it keeps the show interesting, especially since we are pre-recording. This is a pre-recorded.
Sorry, guys. We are adults with our own lives.
So, since it's a pre-recorded, I figured time to play with the format a little bit. But yeah, I'm your host, Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
As well as other things.
As well as other things. And sometimes he presses start recording without me knowing.
I feel like it was also a natural, like it makes it more natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also talk non-Star Wars things, so let's kind of talk about what we've been up to this week. We got a little bit. We'll kind of keep doing the TLDR version like we've been doing. I've been playing Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Again, it's been a minute, and so I'm remembering some quests. So I'm currently level 6. I have high karma, so I am what they call Peacekeeper because each level they change your nickname. But other than the Lone Wanderer, they keep that one. But Three Dog will be like, I've heard news about the Dignitary, the Peacekeeper, whatever, depending on
what your level is.
Yeah. So currently he's been repetitively talking about me deactivating the nuke in Megaton, or talking about me helping out Arafu and their raider issue. Putting it nicely, because I don't think he knows I don't think Three Dog or anybody else learns the town of Arafu learns the specifics.
All of the
because
2 people that live there.
No, there's the mayor. There's the first guy's door you knock on and his wife, so that's 3 people. First guy's a jerk, but his wife is nice, but she might be a little delulu.
She's very delulu.
I didn't talk to her more than her opening the door for me, so you know.
I remember going. I did. That woman really needs her meds. Like I genuinely.
Yeah, genuine. Yeah, there's genuine mental health there.
Unfortunately, it's the goddamn wasteland.
So that is not a priority.
Not getting shot, eaten, poisoned, stabbed, or irradiated is.
And then there's the other neighbor lady, so that's 4. And then when you bring back the kid, they call him a kid, but he's a full-grown adult. Like, he's got a full adult voice actor and everything, although he looks short. That's the weird...
Fallout...
It's so... but also...
Fallout is like JoJo's, in where children have, like, adult faces.
But also, it's like the top. It's the Bethesda. It's the early Bethesda weird Todd.
We only have 6 voice actors. We're gonna figure this out.
It's the Todd Howard. This is a perfect game. You know. Fallout 3 is fun though. I like. Yeah. I mean, it was my introduction to Fallout. Like a lot of people, I like a lot. Although I also like 1 and 2 a lot. Now since I've gone back and played them, because I have to go back and complete things.
Whereas with me, that's not the case. It's a whatever I need to do to get to the end.
See, yeah, my brain is I have to do everything, and it's even worse if I start somewhere in the middle. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go back and start chronologically from the beginning. So one of the So Jared, not the Star Wars one who's played in with you in Star Wars game, not that Jared, but other Jared.
Okay.
He got me Dragon Ball Z, like on DVD for 1 year for my birthday, but it was like season 8.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you know, this means I'm gonna have to start from the beginning. He's like, I know, and I'm like, no, I mean the beginning. Because he thought I meant Dragon Ball Z Season 1. I mean Dragon Ball proper.
Beginning.
The beginning. And he's like, you don't gotta watch that. I'm like, yes, I do. It's a compulsive behavior that I've got. I know. So chronological for me, always. So yeah, so I've mostly been sticking around, keeping it real quick because this is really the only thing I'm going to talk about because it's really the only major thing I've been up to, other than the movie I'm working on. Other than that,
you can't talk about yet.
So. Yeah, I can't talk about too much yet since we're still filming. But I've mostly been sticking around Megaton. I have gone to Rivet City just because quest lines led me there anyways. Like the doing the book for Megaton, that one sends me to Rivet because I gotta find out the past of Rivet. I think it's supposed to be you're supposed to do those as you just happen to be playing the main storyline, but I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do just these. Also, the only reason I did the Arafu thing was also because Megaton, because Lucy is there and is like, hey, deliver a letter to my family. You find out all of her family except her brother are dead. Ian, I think, was his name. I think it's Ian West. Because I think it's Lucy and Ian. I played this yesterday, but my brain's still like... I also had to replay those twice because I messed up a save. Because I did those, and that took me like 2 hours to do all of those mission, which is the fire ant mission, where you go to the town where it's been burned down by fire ants, and then you go underground and you help the doctor set up so that way the queen is under control again, and then the ants will stop attacking the town. So I did all of that, went back to Megaton, and then was like, yeah, I really hate this Enclave guy who lives here, Nathan, because I hate the Enclave, as you should. If you like the Enclave, like legitimately like the Enclave, not like I think the Enclave have some like good writing, that's one thing. Like, you can say it's written well, but if you legitimately think the Enclave is a good faction, that's a red flag, in my opinion.
I've never harmed Nathan. However, I found it. Walk up into town and just shoot him?
No. I waited. So I thought like a lot of Bethesda games, if I kill him when nobody else is around, like when it shows I'm hidden.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, if it shows I'm hidden at the top and I kill him in like one go, then I'm good. And I have like 10 agility, 10 luck. 10...
How could this possibly?
How could this go wrong? I should be able to kill him in one shot, or at least without leaving the vats. Like if I just go vats and I go pew pew, then he should be dead, which is exactly what happened. The problem is, apparently, because I didn't have a silenced 10 millimeter yet.
Everybody heard it.
Well, the doctor heard it because I was in the doctor's office, Doc Church, at Megaton, and I was like, because Nathan walks around, so you got to kind of follow him. So I was just like, oh, he's in a building, and as long as I stay hidden, shoot him, and then run out of the building, I should be fine. Because then Doc Church won't know who did it.
Mm-hmm.
One, that gives me evil karma. Not that it matters, because my karma's through the roof, so if I take one evil karma, I'll live. But two, I didn't... So I counted on the autosave of me entering docks to be like, okay, if this goes bad, I can load. Didn't realize that when I exit the building, that creates another autosave on top of the previous autosave.
Yeah.
Because it's been that long since I played it, so So that ran me back 2 hours, and so I played those again, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna speed run this dialogue. I'm gonna let the kid stay in the vault. I'm not in the little phone booth. I'm not even gonna go talk to him. I'm just gonna go find his dad quickly, then use the key that's on his dad's body to go find the doc. Go also try to open his neighbor's computer, but I don't have a high enough hack for that, and I also don't have high enough lockpick for the case either. So either way, I can't open. Although I think I have a key now for the case because I found the dead body in the tunnels, so I should go back and at least open the case. I assume he worked Enclave because one, the radio is Enclave when you're in that house. Two, they mentioned that the neighbor was the dad was an ex-soldier of some sort. So he was either that or Brotherhood. and I don't imagine you can leave the Brotherhood easily. So
I don't imagine you can leave the Enclave easily either.
So, we'll see. It's been a minute because I've never done every little thing. So this is me, taking my time and enjoying the world.
Oh man, I remember the first time I shot Burke in Moriarty's bar.
So yeah, I fixed it, and plus now that I've gone to Rivet, because the first time I hadn't gone to Rivet City yet. This time I was like, well, I'm going to Rivet City anyways, so I'm just gonna leave the kid in there because I know I gotta find somebody in Rivet City. I forgot her name, so once I unlocked the fast travel to Rivet City, I went back to the other town, talked to the kid, told him his dad's dead, and was like, okay, and he was like, oh, and you also already dealt with the ants, so cool, that's already done. And I'm like, yep.
And now I have nowhere else to go. Don't worry, your aunt is in Rivet City.
Well, I didn't even know that yet. I was like, oh. Well, my character didn't. I did. So I was like, hey, do you know who I can find? And he's like, well, I think it was actually his cousin.
Yeah.
It's weird. He says cousin, but then when you talk to her, it's aunt. Because you're like, oh, it's your nephew. But he says cousin. So it's...
Maybe his cousin...
Let's not figure...
I don't...
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, rather than that implication, maybe it's just been a long time.
Yeah. So anyways, I talked to him, and I'm like, okay, I'll go talk to Vera. Go back there, because I'd already talked to her once before, because when I first went to Rivet, I just happened to talk to her. But I did not know the relation yet, so, or my character didn't. And I didn't, because I forgot who it was. And so, I came back, I was like, hey, we're cool. By the way, I found your nephew. You want to take care of him? Because everybody else is dead. And she's like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I guess I should do that.
Okay, I'll send him over. Go back over there. Hey, your aunt will take care of you. And he's like, oh, okay, thank you. Anybody else would have ran off and left me to die.
It's like, don't fucking tempt me, kid.
It's like, no, I'm playing good. I'm playing good.
Like, this conversation highlights some things about us as players.
Although,
I'll do the right thing, but I'll bitch about it the whole time.
And actually, we can talk about it right, because we were talking about, because you've been playing Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something in Fallout 3 that I forgot was in there, and that's all the setup for the Institute, the synths, the railroad, all of that is there in Rivet City. All that setup for 4. Now, whether that was a purposeful thing where they built 4 knowing that information, or they went back, found that information, were like, oh yeah, we should probably put that in 4. Who knows? They do mention the guy actually in 4, the scientist, because he was the head of that particular, the synth project, and so the interim head that you meet in 4 is like, yeah, I'm just in charge until he comes back, till Zimmer comes back, because they try to. Bethesda did a good job there, where they were like, we're gonna keep it vague enough to where oh, he's still off looking for the synth, or he's dead and the Institute just hasn't learned that yet, depending what you did.
Mm-hmm. In my case,
you let him just kind of think that Harkness was killed.
Yeah, I was like, you fucking dead.
I shot Zimmer. Yeah. I found, so I had to go to Rivet City because I was doing the book. And
the Wasteland Survival Guide. Also, Moira, I know this isn't your fucking fault, but how dare you send me into a town filled with mines and a sniper?
I killed that sniper. It was so easy too, cause I hid. I was on the stairs, right under him. He comes running down the stairs. I enter VATS, one shot, head comes off.
Yeah.
I was like, my dude, I feel so bad, but I don't.
I remember it's been a while since I've played Fallout 3, but I did play through it twice, right? Mm-hmm. I remember that both times. So the first time, I had no fucking clue what was going on. The second time, I knew what was going on, so I used, cars, buildings, and everything as cover.
Don't use cars.
Yeah.
Is that the lesson you're about to tell us?
No, actually.
Because don't use cars, because that's one of the first things that blows up when you're on that in minefield. Is like, yeah, a car blows up because, although I used it, I benefited from it because I was using the radiation from the explosion.
Yeah.
Because I'm highly irradiated and it heals my limbs.
Mm-hmm. I remember, like, doing that and, like, reading terminals and such in those houses, and it explains, like, oh, a couple years back, raiders came in, killed everybody, and left that guy alone as a child.
Oh, and so he's like...
So he's like, anyone who comes near has to go.
Yeah. I did not read the terminal. Is that information that you can give to Moira, or is it just the sniper, it was a trap thing?
It's just it was a trap thing.
Ah, okay. Oh, well.
Context for why he's out there doing that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, so, yeah.
I have a surprising amount of, like, for Fallout 3 where I choose to do not good things in a bad way.
To be fair, I would say killing that man is fine because it's self-defense.
Yeah, no, that's not what I was talking about. I mean, like, lying to Zimmer.
Oh.
Which is a good thing to do.
Yeah, I just shot him, which was nice, because I go to Harkness, I'm like, I reveal that you're an android, 1, and then 2, so now what do you want to do to Zimmer? Harkness is like, I want to kill him. I'm like, I'll do it for you. And he's like, okay, here's a cool laser rifle to do it with. My cool laser rifle that I used to hunt down synths when I was working with the Institute. So here you go. I'm like, okay. Let her rip, even though I have no skill, like, that's not my skilled weapon proficiency. I was like, it feels right to use his gun to kill Zimmer. It would be, I feel like it would be wrong for me to use any other weapon. So, yeah, I
will say this, in terms of...
Also, I think Zimmer was a synth, because you find, although his Wikipedia page for the Fallout Wiki shows he's human, but, like, you find the synth, like, or android, because they weren't calling them synths entirely yet. Although they call them synths in passing, like, they go back and forth with it, but it says android component when you find the components. But he had an android component on him, which is supposed to implicate that it was an android, because that was what you were going to provide to Zimmer as proof. That's what
I did.
Yeah, that's what you provide to Zimmer as proof that you killed him, because a railroad person comes up and is like, hey, stop your questioning of things. Here's an android component to say that you killed him and get this guy out of here. And then you can end the quest there. You don't have to find the guy who invented him or anything.
Yeah,
but
I got persuaded.
Or not invented him, but like changed his look and his voice module and memories.
Yeah, I got persuaded by this person just asking me nicely to go do something.
She was using that 20 persuasion.
I'm like, fine, I guess. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, it was like a 75% correct persuasion check on you.
Yeah, like, sure. I don't really want to go
using Fallout numbers. D&D, it was a D20.
I don't really mind that, I guess. Sure. And they're like, don't you think they deserve a chance at another life? And I'm like, that's a pretty good argument.
So yeah, you took the quick route, although you still ended up going to look for the guy anyways, apparently.
I looked for him, and they showed up after and had a talk with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I won't sell them out for money.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I can get money from
other
all
things.
The other things that I'm doing.
Yeah, I had
collecting bounties for the regulators.
Yeah, I had like 2,000 caps. I spent it on my house though.
Like, for me, it's collecting bounties from the regulators, mapping out regions for Riley's Rangers, which Riley's Rangers are pretty cool.
I've had enough of me. So what have you been up to?
Fucking Talon Company. Fuck Talon Company. These guys.
Are they in 4 again as well? I forgot.
No, they're not. They're just in 3, and they're annoying as fuck.
Oh yeah, especially because they're especially bad now that I've turned off the nuke at Megaton. They're like, hey, so that rich guy didn't like you did that.
Yeah. I remember the first time I read it, right? The first bounty is 2,000 caps.
Oh, I had 1,000 on my first bounty, and that was before I turned off the nuke.
And it's like, I remember the letter, the like a bounty order, right? It's like some holier than thou asshole is
Yeah, that's
trying
what
to
I've
make
got.
the world better.
That's
Go
what.
fucking kill him.
Yeah, that was the note I got. Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck has this kind of money?
But you've been playing 4.
I've been playing 4.
Sounds like you need to play 3 again though at some point
Yeah.
after your 4 run.
I've been playing 4, and as I'm going through it, I ended up discovering I had a fuck ton of quests. While Talon Company isn't around, you know who is around? The Gunners,
Yeah.
which are only mildly better than Talon Company, in that they don't sell children into slavery.
Yeah.
And so, I went to the Glowing Sea because I was tracking down like a radio signal, right? So I go there and I'm reading like the reports from these guys, and I get to the end of it, right? I fought like a glowing deathclaw because I accidentally wandered into it. You know, what me and wandering into enemies with video games is a notorious problem.
Yeah.
Need I mention the bear?
You mean the Yao Guai? Oh, the bear in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking Fallout still. Yeah, no, the bear in Baldur's Gate, yeah.
How it left me alone and then decided, no, we're fighting today.
And then it would keep chasing you, so then Drew and I just killed it that
Yeah.
way by having you be the distraction and Drew and I just shooting at it.
Yeah. And so, I tracked down and they're like, oh man, this, fuck, what was his name? I'm gonna call him Private Lebowski because I don't remember. They're like, Lebowski's our tech guy. It's kind of crazy. Like, we make fun of him a lot. I'm like, oh, this is gonna go great. And one of them's like, I should probably, like, leave him be. And so going through and reading all of that, eventually I came and got, like, the final log entry, and it's like, crazy how he ran off with our Tesla cannon and killed most of us. I'm like, fuck. He's gonna be, like, right there as soon as I exit out of this log, isn't he? And so they do. They go and they do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I didn't come here originally to kill anyone today, but I guess that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and track down some Enclave remnants later and see what's up with them.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about that before, because fuck the Enclave.
Well, I don't typically get into fights with people for no reason. I think the Enclave has done enough.
Also, that's not no reason. The Enclave there are reasons.
Yeah. My current reason for it is you guys shot at me without explaining anything.
Yeah. So.
But he says we have some things to look at.
Yeah, we've got some news. There's a few things. Let's start with video game.
Alright.
Because Star Wars Fortnite thing has been going on.
Yes.
Um,
Seeing that with Drew and Tori and Kinsey.
I've been enjoying it. I like the Legos thing that they got going on. They've got like a Lego, like, because, you know, Lego Fortnite's been a thing. So Lego Fortnite Star Wars is going on, as well as doing like the Battle Royale stuff. But also there's a music thing on Fortnite, so they've added Cantina Band as a thing that you can play the song for. I haven't done that yet, because I was recording it and I was like, oh, that's copyrighted music. I can't record that for YouTube. Sorry. Not without, you know, that portion of the video being gone, audio-wise. Disney said, well, it'd be UMG, I think. That would be like, hey, no, cut that out. But they launched a trailer for it, so let's go ahead and watch that. Let me make sure I get everything right. Got a few trailers here that we're going to be looking at today.
Yes. Everyone to teen. Violence. Fantasy violence and lyrics?
Yeah! Saw that moment when I played Lego Fortnite. So, I mean, this looks fun. Like, just the Lego stuff. I feel like at least Lego Fortnite would be your thing. Like, I know you're not a Battle Royale guy, so that part's probably not interesting. Yeah, Darth Maul car for rocket racing. That's the band thing, Fortnite Festival. But yeah. And so, like, Fortnite has kind of now become a platform instead of just a game, like its own game. It's been that way for a minute now. But it's kind of a platform now for a bunch of type of games. And so, you got a rock band sort of rhythm game, you've got a racing game, you've got the Lego Fortnite, and then you got the classic Battle Royale, right? So I think you would enjoy. I know you're not a big Fortnite guy, but I think you would enjoy at least the Lego Fortnite because that's a chill thing and that's more up your speed. I think. You're not a Battle Royale guy,
No,
so
I'm not.
I don't know if you're a racing guy, but
No, we've gone over this.
yeah. Next up though is mostly so. Like I said, it's out now. I've been playing it. It's chill. I haven't done a lot of the Battle Royale stuff. I should do that. I might do a lot of it offline, off video, so that way I can actually complete all the Lego Star Wars stuff, or all the Fortnite Star Wars stuff in time, because it's like an event thing, so you've got like X amount of days to do certain quests and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then you get like rewards. I think like there's a Chewbacca skin for the, like they show with the Lego stuff. And so I wouldn't mind more cool Lego skins for Fortnite. Next up, though, is TV. We've got a couple things. We've got a new Acolyte trailer, which is, that's the big one that you and I have been excited about. So we're going to go ahead and watch that. Now, I've not actually watched this trailer yet.
Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Sith code.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part
Vernestra!
of your plan.
Oh,
Shit. That was not.
but that wasn't good. Looked like some nameless thing.
It's time to face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
Oh, hello. Oh!
What are you?
That's a cool mask. I like it. I really like it. I'm so pumped. I mean, I've said for a long time that this was going to be my, like, for a lot of people, Obi-Wan Kenobi was the hype show. For some people, it was Andor. This is mine. The Acolyte is mine. This is my hype show. This is the show that I have been wanting because for a long time, I have been saying that the movies and TV shows need to get out of the movie eras. We need to get out of the any time that the movies take place, because where they have anyways, so like where the main saga, the main 9 films have taken place, because that's where every other piece of media has been, like, for the films and shows have taken place. They have all taken place either in that that prequel trilogy, original trilogy, or sequel trilogy era, and I just want something different.
Mm.
And especially because I'm an Old Republic head. Like, I love my Old Republic. Everybody knows how much I love the Knights of the Republic comic. Everybody knows, like, that my sweet boy Zane character, an innocent cinnamon roll that he is, done nothing wrong, never will do wrong. Y'all know at this point if you watch the show and know or know me, so y'all already know this stuff. But so the High Republic has been so far the closest we've gotten to that with the books and the comics, and so getting a show in that era is validating, I think. And it looks great. On top of that, it looks great. You're more stoics, but so what do you think?
Well, I'm glad that it's definitely. I'm glad it's
because you have the same, because you also have similar complaints. Like, from what I understand, you are also tired of the movie eras.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, is time to go to the future.
Yeah, you're more waiting to see what happens with the Rey movie, because that's a moving forward. I mean, I think though Star Wars is such a vast thing that there's enough room to keep going in the past, because there are things we don't know, and the High Republic has proven that you can go into the past without having to count on nostalgia of the movies, because sure, while we've had Yoda in the High Republic, he is not the
focus.
He's not a heavy focus. Sure, he's had his moments in the High Republic where he's important, but there's nothing that's he's not the prime focus. Same thing with any of the other masters from the prequel era that we've seen. I think the only time that we had one that was prime central was Yaddle, but also Yaddle doesn't get a lot of screen time, so it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice having Yaddle be a main character, and so that was, and seeing how she's different also from other council members and Yoda.
Everyone, Yaddle, did you bring a child to the battlefield? And she's like, yeah, don't worry about it.
So, I'm excited, and of course we know that Old Republic is coming, because we have, we know that it's an official time period now. We've known that since last year, because I got really happy when they confirmed that, when they showed us the new timeline at the last, I think it was the last celebration, yeah, when they showed the Dawn of the Jedi stuff and the Old Republic, and that James Mangold, aka the guy who did one of the best Wolverine movies, Logan, is doing Dawn of the Jedi, and then, which tells me that we're definitely going to get some Western inspired, it's going to be samurai Western inspired, because he definitely understands that type of trope filmmaking, so I think he's going to provide that for Dawn of the Jedi. Old Republic, we don't know what's going to happen with it. We just know it's a canon timeline. We don't know if any projects are coming of that. Hey Disney, if you want somebody, I will be glad to work with the story group and find ways to bring awesome stories. I don't think we need. Well, I'm excited. Well, I guess we got the Knights of the Republic remake game. That's coming, but we don't know if that's going to be canon or not, and that's kind of still in developmental hell, where it's it's being made, but we don't know if or when it's coming, because so many things are going on with Saber Interactive and the company that's working, the company that's in charge of that project. Similar to the High Republic game, although that one I think is even less likely to happen. Just because, one, very similar developmental hell where they're oh yeah, it's going to be 8 years from when we announced it. Also, it's from a development team that, while they make genuinely decent games, their CEO and lead creative has a history with fans not liking him because of how he treats actors. For legitimate reasons. There are some legitimate reasons to not be a fan of David Cage, as a person or as a creative. So I get it. In fact, I think he kind of peaked. Honestly, I think he peaked the moment he did Heavy Rain. I know a lot of people like his other games, but I think Heavy Rain was kind of where he peaked at, because Beyond Two Souls is kind of eh. And while a lot of people like Detroit Become Human, I don't think it's as good.
If you were to ask me, my opinion on the matter. I'd say Beyond Two Souls, and then anything after that is questionable.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were a fan of Detroit, so.
No.
Oh. Detroit's interesting because he makes the mistake that I think Zootopia does, where they try to tell a analogy to a very modern issue, right? And I think he's trying to tell that story, but the problem, much like Zootopia, is it's so like different that it's like not the same issue anymore. And it kind of like makes the modern issue
the one
where
saving grace that game has, right,
is Clancy Brown.
Is the relationship between Hank and
Clancy Brown.
Yeah. Between Hank and his robotic partner.
Yeah.
Because that's just the best part. And
Clancy Brown is always the saving grace of whatever he's in, though, to be fair. If it's bad and Clancy Brown's in it, Clancy Brown is gonna be good still.
The fucking funniest like bit of that entire game. Huh. What's Hank's password? Options. Of course it's a fucking password in all caps.
But yeah, so that one I feel like is even less likely to happen than the Knights of the Republic game.
Oh yeah.
So like that. Whereas Knights of the Republic, it sounds like Saber Interactive really does want this game to happen. It's just finding it in their schedule and finding the right development team to do it. Because originally it was going to be Aspyr, but Aspyr, let's be honest, while we like what they do for bringing games onto modern consoles and kind of doing that and porting things, I don't believe in their ability to create a brand new game. If that makes sense. From the ground up. Because that's what you'd be doing. Because it's not them just porting it, which they've done for the Knights of the Republic series. And even then, we can't really believe in them with that, with what happened with Knights 2 and that fiasco. And the restored content DLC. So even then, we can't trust an Aspyr. But...
Hey, sorry, just thinking of Knights 2. Hey man who's struggling with his life problems because his wife is missing. Here's a gun and some credits.
And now he's gonna go die
Shut
because...
up, Freya. I've given him the means to solve his problems if he can't do it on his own.
Yeah. I did the right thing. That's what matters. He says, I did the right thing. I can't count on I can't start thinking of the what if. I just have to go off the information I have and do the right thing. And that, yeah. Yeah. Don't worry, we agree on our hatred of Kreia, but for mostly separate reasons, but like reasons that are like, that we can agree on. Like, we're like, I hate her for this reason, I hate her for that reason, but we both agree that, yes, both of those reasons are good reasons to hate her. Anyways. But yeah, we got off track.
Yeah.
The Acolyte is great.
I will reserve my judgments,
or at least it's looking great, I should say.
I will reserve my judgments until we sit down and watch it, because we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But
and it's coming pretty soon, June 4th.
What I'm seeing so far.
June 4th, it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. Oh. We kind of skipped this when we talked about what's going on this week, but tomorrow's your birthday.
Not tomorrow.
Well, when this...
Oh, right, yeah. Pre-recorded. Yeah, tomorrow is my birthday.
And so I got you... Well, so I bought something, and I already had a copy of that thing, and I was like, hey, you don't mind if it's a hand-me-down thing?
Nope.
And especially... And so, like... Yeah, I bought a new copy of Dawn of the Jedi, Into the Void, and so I gave him
his. Which is good. It gives me a chance to do some research before another upcoming project we'll be working on.
Yeah, so it's a good book. It's a Tim LeBon. It also feeds into a lot of. I think you'll like it because Tim LeBon is like known for being a horror writer. So, yeah.
For those of you who don't know,
you like your horror.
I like my horror. I forget if I've explained this on the podcast, but I have 2 reactions to horror. And one of it is light work, no reaction. and the second one is let me try to fight that thing.
And I'll say this is less monsters, less like gothic. This is more psychological. And it's specifically for a single character though, so it's like it's not the prime focus, but he definitely puts his horror aspects. It's like watching the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, where it's like they're not horror genre specific, but there are horror elements to those films because Sam Raimi comes from horror, so of course he's gonna put horror elements into his Spider-Man trilogy.
Harry.
Well, I was also thinking the Spider-Man 2 with the Doc Ock when they try to cut off the
oh god,
and you get the horror camera angles of it attacking them, and you get just the shadows, and yeah, so it's like that for this. It's not gonna be like, oh, it's gonna scare. No, it's more of like there's undertones.
Yeah. What, you mean my writing doesn't have an undercurrent of horror in it?
No, you're just straight up horror for most of it.
Straight up?
Well, no, not for the short stories you've been working on for me, but...
Yeah, but that's because it's in a different setting.
Yeah, it's sci-fi, it's more epic sci-fi tone.
Don't worry. We'll get to some horror, alright?
Although, even and while I don't come, like, I like sci-fi, I like genre. So, like, I like sci-fi, I like fantasy, and that can be seen in my writing. Even I have some horror elements in my writing. Just because sci-fi and horror tend to just mesh well, so that's why it's there. So, like, the green coats. That's probably where the horror element is.
They're fucking horrifying. They're horrifying, and I'm an insane asshole who's like, I'll fist fight them.
But then it's
I'll throw them out a window.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, that's kind of sad.
It's sad. It's sad, and the way, like, them dying is probably the best they're gonna get.
Maybe. But yeah, so we got one more thing to talk about before we get into our main topic. Let's talk about another trailer. And I think this one, we should just let the trailer play out, because I think it's hard to explain it without watching it. Have you watched this one ahead of time?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we, like, started
I think we
through.
talked about it, but we didn't watch that trailer. I showed you a clip from it.
Excuse me, sorry.
So, let's get into it.
Space. Time. It's falling apart. The building blocks of the galaxy are getting mixed up.
This doesn't make any sense.
Worlds will change. People will change in ways we cannot possibly imagine.
I love that.
This is wild.
X-Wing TIE fighters?
Ewok bounty hunters. These are going to hurt you, sir. Darth Jar Jar.
Okay. Obviously not canon, because it's a Lego short. It's I believe 4 episodes is what I've seen floating around. So as we saw, that's going to be September. So we got time before we have to plan to talk about that one for an episode. Because we'll talk non-canon if it's brand new. It's essentially a Star Wars What If.
Yeah.
And it's great. One, they're bringing Jedi Bob in, which is like meme Star Wars Lego Jedi. Like, Jedi Bob is like I forget where it started, but it's a thing. And then of course Darth Jar Jar, which is like the biggest prequel meme for Star Wars. Like, it's the biggest like thing ever. I know a few people that are going to be happy about this. Jeff, for one, I think will be happy to see this. I'll have to tell him about this. There's a few people that will be that I think sometimes Star Wars just needs to be fun. And I think that's what the Lego shorts provide, is just the fun element of Star Wars. And that imagination, because, like, Star Wars, you know, it inspires the imagination. Like, that's why a lot of people in our generation wants to go into, like, people that want to go into film in our generation. Star Wars is a part of that, along with that era of film. And so, Lego Star Wars just exemplifies that, I think. So, having something like this come out is nice. Especially because it's been a minute since our last Lego Star Wars short series. Because, the last one was the Summer Vacation?
I think so, yeah.
And that's been a couple years, right? Because Summer Vacation was 2022?
Probably.
That sounds right. I can double check my sources, though. While I'm doing that, go ahead and give your input. I mean... Or did I basically steal everything you were thinking sort of situation?
It's nice. It'll be a nice break from all of the, like... Because Star Wars is in a weird place right now. Not necessarily a weird, but a very dramatic place.
Where everything's kind of, like, melodrama serious.
Yeah.
Especially, like, because, like, a lot of the stuff we're reading, like High Republic, just getting done with Dark Droids arc last time. That's very melodramatic. And even the thing we're going to talk about this week, kind of heavily melodrama but I think it's this isn't a bad thing. It's good melodrama. Yeah. Like, it's well done melodrama.
It's just nice to see a bit of Star Wars not take itself that serious.
Yeah. And yeah, like, Summer Vacation was 2022. So it's been 2 years since we've had a Lego Star Wars short. How
dare you fucking make me do this for 2 years?
We've been doing it longer, though.
Yeah, don't tell me. It's alright. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it.
No. And in fact, we've got similar to last time we've had this conversation, we got some news this week, because remember, we're gonna, for next week, because you wanted to take another, because work, I think, or something.
Oh, no. I'm dropping
that's right,
Sunday game.
Oh, is that why you're...
It's why I'm pre-recording with Keontae tomorrow.
No, I'm talking about... Never mind. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode. Anyways, we solved that.
Sorry, had a slight miscommunication on my end, because he's explained to me, like, why we were doing what we were doing, which is my fault.
Anyways. Yeah, so Lego Star Wars, good. Lego Star Wars, always good.
It's nice because sometimes it's like, we're all so serious all the time.
Yeah, sometimes we just need something funny.
Like, sometimes it's okay to laugh.
Yeah. And honestly, I think a Star Wars What If is what fans have been wanting for a long time. And then...
It's gonna hurt you, sir.
And then also on top of that, having Marvel What If as an official TV show has made that desire even stronger, where people are like, no, we really want Star Wars What If. And so, while it's in Lego form, I think that's fitting for the Star Wars franchise. Maybe they'll do a proper Star Wars What If eventually later. But Lego Star Wars What If is good enough for me. Especially depending on what they decide to explore with it. Obviously, we're getting Darth Jar Jar, so that'll be fun. All right. Time for the main topic. This week, we're talking about The Bad Batch final season. And we're going to talk about it, so spoiler warning.
You're goddamn right.
I think the ending's great. I'm just going to jump to it. I think, because I think this is a season where we just got to jump to the end. Like, everything in this season builds up so perfectly to what we get.
Yeah.
The one question, of course, that's floating around for the more, cynical Star Wars fans is like the Ventress stuff. But I think that's stuff that can be answered in other media, and I think it will be answered in other media, because Star Wars always answers questions in the next piece of material. If you ever have a question about Star Wars, watch more Star Wars. That's essentially the reality of it. If you ever have a question about how something or why something happens, keep digging into Star Wars.
Yep.
Because you'll get your answer.
I was explaining the Ventress situation with Chris. How he was like, wait, isn't she supposed to be dead? And I'm like, don't worry about it. She got better. Which makes me very happy.
Yeah. And I'm curious if Quinlan is still around during this time, the interaction they would have. Because we don't have a confirmed death of Quinlan yet. We don't know if or when he dies. So maybe they run into each other again, reunite their love, and I know a lot of romantic people that would be happy for that, where they're like, yeah, because Quinlan Ventress was like a very good romance. You don't know as much about that.
I don't. It's a name I've heard before.
But yeah, so like you don't know as much about that because you haven't watched too much Clone Wars, from what I understand. You've seen episodes here and
I've
there.
seen episodes here and there.
And then you haven't read Dark Disciple yet, but don't worry, that's this like watching Clone Wars and reading Dark Disciple is the season of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk, so we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's gonna be a minute, but we're gonna get there.
I do like how Crosshair, Wrecker, and Hunter all look to each other before they try to jump Ventress, like we're jumping her, right? And all of them are like, yeah, we are.
The other great thing is that while it is 100% confirmed that the midichlorian thing is part of the reason why she's special, which we kind of figured that out like season 1. Like everybody kind of figured there's something like that they were feeding into stuff that the Mandalorian's been feeding us. Because the Mandalorian, that's why Grogu's special, is because the Empire wants, or First Order / Empire remnants want Grogu because then they can bring back the Emperor for Project Necromancer. Necromancy or Necromancer?
It's Project Necromancer.
Okay, Necromancer. I always
All they needed was a Phoenix down, man. Splash it on the Emperor.
Well, it's because they're doing the cloning routine.
Yeah.
So, which is something in Legends. It's something they borrowed from Legends material.
Yeah, I was explaining, like, also, as I understand it, how, like, the cloning process
Cloning the
for
Force
that
is
would
very
work.
difficult and almost impossible.
I was explaining, like, how it's not easy to do that, and that's why Omega is special.
Yes. Because, like, the idea of passing midichlorian to midichlorian, it just doesn't work that way. Yeah. And so, like if I give you a blood transfusion, you're not all of a sudden going to have the same midichlorians as me, or whatever midichlorians I passed on. Like, that's just not how the Force works. Because the Force is still very, like, everybody's like, oh, you're over-explaining the Force. But not really. Because the Force is still very mystical and very, like, there are still things not answered. And while, yes, we are getting scientific answers to some fantasy stuff, I think that it's done in a way that it doesn't answer as much as people think. Yeah. And of course they have to like vaguely explain how the Emperor came back, because while I think the films visually explain it, like when you watch Rise of Skywalker, I think it's visually explained well, in that you find the Emperor, when Kylo finds the Emperor in Episode 9, he's hiding over an Exegol, and he's got like all these science lab things with clones of Snoke being made, and like there's your answers. They are doing what a film should do, which is visualize things and give the answers through visual clues. You don't need exposition you don't need them to go, well, you see, when I got thrown down the pit, I set up this operation that was going to bring me back to life, and I'd actually been setting it up since like the end of the Clone Wars, and you know they had this special clone named Omega, and like that would have been, nobody wants that. That's not how you should answer something in a film like that. But that's how certain fans will complain, that if you don't explain that, then it's a plot hole. But that's not how plot holes work, and that's not how exposition should work. And it's never how Star Wars has worked. It's like I said, if you want answers to Star Wars, you seek out more Star Wars.
Yep.
Because like even the original films, there are things that they don't answer that books and supplementary materials from RPGs at the time were answering. Like What's the Emperor's name? Palpatine. We did not know that until a book came out. I think it was the novelization for Return of the Jedi, or it was some West End game RPG book. Anyways, that's how we learned his name, and then we didn't even get his first name until the canon reset with the Tarkin novel, where we get Sheev. So like, anyways, that's my rant. I think
also,
I had to have an obligatory rant for this episode.
Also, I like Cad Bane as a villain. He's just such an evil son of a bitch.
And I
will shoot this parent's child and take them away.
I liked seeing you mean child's parent? You said parent's child.
Parents.
You're gonna shoot the child and then take the parent away.
Yeah. Just to prove how evil I am. Parent. Wait, no, I was just child's parent.
Yeah, there you go. You were about to do it again. I also like seeing Ming-Na Wen again as
Fennec Shand.
Fennec Shand, which that was fun.
I remember like they're like, we're gonna have to go talk to Fennec Shand, and I'm like,
oh yeah, because you still haven't seen season 1.
Yeah, I'm like. So wait, you're gonna go to the lady who is a problem for you in the past?
Hey, she works out.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I can point you in the right direction.
They have the like money isn't everything argument, and Fennec's like, yeah, that's because you don't have any. I'm like, okay, fuck you.
But once again,
however. One of the funniest things that like me and Chris as we go through, because we watched a bunch of the episodes, like we got to 7 on Tuesday night, and then we finished them out this morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, at the end of it, Emery and Echo, where they're talking, they're like, you'll just have to trust me. And I'm like, I've heard 9 fucking people say that within the span of like 4 hours.
To be fair, though, that's 4 hours, which is a long time in television, actually.
Like, if we did this weekly,
it wouldn't have
watched
been...
it over the course of weeks, it wouldn't be so egregious.
Yeah.
But the fact that everyone keeps saying it to each other is the best part of it.
But I really like... I really like the villains.
Yes.
Hemlock is such an evil villain, and I love it. He's almost mustache twirling evil, but he's not quite that type of character. He's more mad scientist evil.
Yeah. Remember when we were having our discussion about how evil scientists should have evil sounding names? Hemlock is an example of that.
Yeah. And like, God, and the fact that like even when he's like, all right, I need Omega, otherwise I am dead. And then even then at the end he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm willing to sacrifice and kill her if you don't let me leave. And they're like, but you need her. And he's like, oh well.
Like, yeah, I know that. That's why you should let me go.
Because I need her. Because my research has been destroyed and I gotta start all over. Because, God, that... Man, everything paid off so well in this show. Because, like, once again, if you do not trust Star Wars animation to, like... Because everybody's like, oh, this episode and this episode of Star Wars animation is filler. Man, nothing is filler in Star Wars animation. There's always a reason. Like, I have learned that... Like, I learned that back with Rebels. Like, Rebels taught me... Like, Rebels Season 1 taught me that while it seems like a filler episode when you're watching it, it's not going to be a filler episode either by the end of the season or by the end of the series. Like, one of those things is going to be true. And Bad Batch once again proves that, because, like, stuff with Cad Bane and Fennec Shand, that seemed like filler for the first couple episodes to people. But then, like, when you see them again later in the first season, when they fight each other, you're like, oh, this isn't as much a filler as we thought. And now we're seeing for sure it's not filler because they come back to play very vital roles to the show.
Also, another thing while watching The Bad Batch, so many people just resort to, like, taking out a knife or a sword and being like, I'm just gonna stab the problem.
Um,
I do think Crosshair is like, alright, Omega, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's a good conversation now. I'm like, well, Crosshairs, and it also goes to help soften up Crosshair.
because I think Bad Batch shows that it is not necessary to do, because this is a conversation I've seen some people on TikTok have. Like, ever since Game of Thrones has kind of made the idea that to be a show taken seriously, you have to, and to, like, create tension, you have to kill your characters. Nope, Bad Batch shows that that's not true. I think, yeah, Tech dying, that shows some tension, but that was also like a season finale sort of tension, and I think while we as Star Wars fans became immediately like, oh, Tech's gonna come back anyways.
I remember even back then I was like, no, he's not.
I think one, not bringing him back, while it upsets some people of the fan base, I think everybody's kind of grieved since then, and we can have this conversation now, which is that I think it's for the better in the writing that Tech doesn't come back, because it gives us a chance to properly grieve Tech. Because that was the problem. Like, because everybody assumed Tech was going to come back, nobody grieved his loss. Like, as a fan. Like, the fans did not. The show did. The show did a great job of grieving that loss, I think. But we as fans were not mentally prepared for that. Because it's like something that because we listened to a video yesterday or something like that, where they were like, oh yeah, if you don't see the dead body, then then it's not dead.
Yeah.
Because we were watching something about Fallout, the show, and how, like, Fallout actually does the reverse thing, where it purposefully shows you something so that way you know that this thing it exists, right? Whereas, like, the common logic of sci-fi and fantasy is if you don't see a body, they're not dead.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the logic I think everybody went into with Tech. Plus, then there was the mysterious clones that were like the superpowered clone hunters that were going after everybody this season. And so everybody started thinking, oh, one of them is Tech. And then we
Come to
find out
no,
that's not the case. And while I understand that process, I understand that thought process, and I understand why fans would have liked for Tech to still be around, because a lot of fans want the Bad Batch to just have their happy ending, right? Because everybody's kind of like, we just want a happy ending for these characters we care about. Especially since, like you mentioned in season 2, there was that romance between him and that was your clue that he was gonna die.
I'm like, brown eyes, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Tech, you poor son of a bitch, you're fucked. You're an intelligent character in fiction
who has a nickname now.
Who has a nickname from
and a love
someone
interest.
And a love interest. You're fucked, pal.
And so a lot of people wanted that happy ending with them, but we don't get that. But that's okay, because I think the people who do survive, we get that happy. We get a happy ending. So I think we need to learn to be able to process in the moment the possible death of a character. We need to not just assume they're going to come back. We need to be able to kind of let it go. And so I also think it didn't help, though, like, while because the fans would communicate with because of how social media works nowadays, fans would communicate with the creators, and the creators would communicate back, and it kind of creates this, like, it's not a parasocial relationship like in the normal thought of that, but, like, it creates a semi-parrot, like, where people are like, oh, the creators are saying this, so obviously they're hinting at this, and it's like, you can't.
So,
but they were also being playful about it. They never confirmed anything specific and so that creates that weird dynamic.
So here's a thought.
And this isn't going after anybody, I think. I should clarify that. I'm not going after anybody because I am friends with people that wanted Tech to be alive. So I am not going after anybody for that, because like I said, I understand those feelings, and I think it's valid. They're still valid. But I think the lesson is we need to learn to be able to process and let go.
Okay. My thing about it, right, and this is something I do with a lot of media, like both written and otherwise, I have a saying for myself. It is observe everything and assume nothing.
Yeah.
Which sometimes leads me to, like, sometimes I'll just take things at face value, like Tech's death in this instance,
Yeah.
which saves me a lot of emotional trouble.
Yeah, you get to be able to process that immediately when it happens, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Like, whereas everybody else is still, like, hoping he's still alive, and then we get the trauma
I'm
later
like,
of...
nope, that motherfucker is dead.
And then we get the trauma later. But, like, so yeah, so I think it's health... In a weird way, it can be healthier to do that, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
So, but also everybody handles things differently.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, the way you handle thing is one thing, but I think it became really bad with Tech because everybody was like, Tech has to be alive in order. Like, there are certain parts of the fan base that were mad that Tech was not alive. Nobody we know. Like, there were a lot of people that were upset that he was dead and, like, got to grieve once that set in. But also, there were people that just straight up were, like, mad that the show didn't bring him back. And that's the people that we can't really, like... Those are people that I will say, hey, you need to chill. Just a bit.
I remember... I feel like my observe everything and, like, assume nothing... And this was a more... Not necessarily a more recent one, but way back, right? Back, like, when me, you, and Ty over at the house, we were watching the episode of Highlander, where, like, Tess gets killed.
Spoilers for that show, by the way.
Spoilers for a show
That's,
from the 90s.
Britt, don't watch this section, because I'm going to make you watch the show soon.
But it's my observe everything, assume nothing. I'm like, I know what this situation is. It's not going to end well.
Yeah, because we don't... Even though this isn't Star Wars, it's... Because we are going to have a podcast about this eventually. So we'll talk about this episode more fully when we get to that podcast. But yeah, because one, the music cue is definitely letting you know something's up. And then two, like, you see a guy walking up to her while she and Richie are going to their car.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh, this guy... And he's like... They're doing the thing that TV does whenever they want you to know that there's a gun involved and it's hidden by having the guy, like, have his hand in his pocket. Like, you are supposed to know as an audience, oh, something's about to happen. So, like, they do that thing, like, especially because this is a show in the 90s, so they're more willing to do those type of, like, obvious clues. So, yeah, you get the obvious clues, and then Tess gets gunned down, and so does Rich. And we'll talk about what happens on a different show. But, yeah, so, yeah. And so you took it at face value, although one of those things didn't come out as face value because... although I think you still kind of felt that was coming, because I think we talked about it afterwards, and you were like, oh, yeah, I can kind of see how that was going to happen.
Yeah, I remember, like, there had been enough...
like, evidence
where I'm like, that's odd.
Like, there were clues that were laid down, yeah. I'm rewatching the show again myself separately, because and so... I'm also trying to get all the things for the podcast, like all the books, all the comics. I'm learning there is some lost media with Highlander by doing that.
That doesn't surprise me.
There is specifically so I told you about the Highlander 3030 comic. Spoiler warning's over, by the way, for Highlander fans. So Highlander 3030 was a comic. We're going way off topic, but it's fine. We're good on time for this episode, actually. It was a comic that was 2010, 2011. No, it was later than that. It was like 2015 or something like that, because it was after all the movies had come out. It was after... so they were like, hey, we want to do a comic. And so they bought the license to do a comic, and it was going to be about Duncan in the future, in the year 3030, which does not fit the canon of any of the movies or anything like that. They also made him look older. They gave him gray hair, which does not fit the canon of anything Highlander. I have not read the issue, so I don't know how this is explained, because turns out they only made one issue because they were rushed. Like the rights holders were like, hey, you need to get this out. And then two, it was like some other issues of like it didn't. So after they were rushed and they got it out, it was digital only, unless you were a backer for it, because it did like a Kickstarter or something like that. So if you were a backer, you got a physical copy. But like digital only, and it didn't sell well. And they were like halfway through writing issue 2 when the rights got pulled from them because it didn't sell well.
I see.
And so they never finished issue 2, and then that company actually went, the comics company that was working on it actually went bankrupt after that.
Well, I guess that puts an end to that.
And so I am trying so hard to find issue 1, but it is nowhere. It is lost media. And like, in fact, I found like multiple articles talking about how it's lost media and how like the closest people have gotten is finding like 4 pages of it, and that's it.
Oh boy.
So like, if anybody I throwing this out to the universe, because I would like to have that for my Highlander podcast once we get that going, because I would like to talk about it at some point. If anybody does have a copy of it and can send it to me, I would be more than grateful. And you would get, like, even on the Star Wars podcast, you get a shout out, even if we don't do the Highlander podcasts anytime soon. You will get shout out because I will greatly appreciate it. The other piece of lost media is the audio drama. There are 2 seasons of an audio drama.
What?
That are supposed to take place after the 4th film. And like but also they kind of don't match the canon of what happens between 4 and 5, because like
Okay.
5 is like post-apocalyptic, but like near future post-apocalyptic.
Okay.
And so like
Highlander, we don't give a fuck about the timeline.
But it's supposed to like take more, like it takes a lot of inspiration for what happens at the end of Endgame, and so both seasons are like, I found like episodes 3 and 4 of the first season, and like I guess they're not fully lost media because you can buy the CDs. They just cost an arm and a leg. They cost like $100 for each season, and so I'm just like, I ain't spending $100 for each season because there's no like digital records. But I found like episodes 3 and 4 digitally somewhere, but not episodes 1 and 2, and none of season 2. So like, it's rough, buddy. Maybe once we do the show, if we have enough sponsorship money, I can buy them. But for now, that's a no. Because right now I'm dealing with a lot of financial stuff, so ain't happening anytime soon.
Yeah. Back on topic.
Back on topic though. Yeah. It's so good. The end. Let's just talk about that end. I think we're just gonna jump, unless you had like another part you wanted to talk about.
So one of the things, like, so for a lot of this season, Crosshair has like bro's got like the stressed shaky hands.
Oh, so yeah, I was gonna talk about Crosshair. Crosshair has a beautiful redemption arc, I think, because Star Wars tends to not like to play with redemption arcs. They tend to go, you're gonna do one great deed and then die.
Yep.
And that's how you're redeemed. Whereas I think Bad Batch went the Avatar: The Last Airbender route of actually giving a redemption arc, where he actually had to do things to correct what he has done.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they give him the shaky hand, and most shows would be like, oh, he's gonna learn how to adjust, and he's gonna do one great awesome thing at the end, and that's his story arc for that. Nope, he loses his hand.
He loses his hand.
He loses that hand.
Hey.
Which I think is also, like, I think that's a good way of, like, because people say, oh, you know, expectations and playing with that. I think they do a good job of doing that in a well-written way. I don't know if that's where you were going with that, but
what I was going to say is, like, I think sometimes people, like, stress hand, man, I get it too sometimes.
Oh, so you were talking about the relatability of it.
Yeah, like, it's not my right hand, thank God. For me, it's usually, like, my left. But I'm like, it sucks when it happens, because there's not really much you can do. You kind of have to just sit there and wait it out.
Yeah.
And so there's that, and I do like that, but I'm also like, I remember when it started, like, it starts in season 2 after he shoots that Imperial officer.
Yeah, it's like after that and during because it's after the death of the clone fans that are gonna hate me for not remembering his name.
God damn it! I really like that.
It was such a good arc. It's such a good storyline, and then like it adds to the Crosshair redemption arc.
Yeah.
In such a beautiful way.
And then like being experimented on at Tantus certainly did not help that shit.
No. I can't remember his name. Hold on, I'm finding it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's that, and he's very much like being direct with Omega, like while they're the first time they get out, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you doing, kid? What is your objective?" And it's like, to escape. It's one of those like, I am a ruthless person, but you need that right now.
Yeah, and also like, it's starting to show his care for her in a very Crosshair way.
Crosshair is one of those people to like call you a dumbass for like,
but lovingly.
He cares about you, but you're an idiot.
Yeah, he's the Red Foreman of. If you ever seen that '70s show.
Nope.
Oh
wait, no. Yes, I have. Yeah. I know who that is.
Yeah, it's the dad.
Yeah.
I'll put a foot up your ass.
Yep. There we go.
He's that.
Yeah.
Like, he cares about you, but he's gonna call you out about your stupidity because he cares about you. But also, like, it's just like it's more of a. I'd argue it's more of a Joel from Last of Us sort of situation, where it's like, this is a life or death situation, and you need to be able to handle it. So I'm going to treat it like as it is, which is a life and death situation. And in order to get past that, we have to take this seriously. You have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm. Also, Omega, for real though, not every clone is your friend.
Although the Emery one works out fine.
The Emery one worked out. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because like Emery was like, I'm not cool with all this mad evil science shit we got going on.
Oh, Mayday was the name from season 2.
Yeah.
Poor Mayday.
Poor Mayday.
But it was also important to Crosshair's arc.
Oh God.
But yeah. It's and so like also I love that the callback to like the Zillow Beast and getting to see, because we knew what Palpatine was planning with that. We knew that, he's planning to have lightsaber resistant armor and all that, and so of course he's got to have and he talked about cloning the Zillow Beast, so of course we know that happened, and here's the clone of it, and then we see the payoff of it. And I like the Zillow Beast getting mad and being like, you zapped me for so long, now I'm free.
I'm so pissed off.
They freed Godzilla.
Yeah.
Let Godzilla be free.
Free my Zillow Beast. He ain't do nothing wrong.
But I also love the kid arc and like the Force kid, the Force sensitive children. But I also I was gonna bring this up. I like that Omega, while she has like a Force sensitivity connection, she chooses not to go down that path.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't need to.
I don't need it.
And so I like
it's
seeing.
Nice to have. I don't need it. Though.
Yeah, and so her path is different. And so seeing somebody who rejects it, not because of any like disdain for it, but because she just has a different path. It's nice. It's refreshing in Star Wars. And so, because everybody was like, "Oh, Omega's gonna do Jedi level thing." Nope. Don't need that. Don't need it. It works out. And she joins the the end. I guess we'll talk about the ending because we're pretty close to the end of this episode.
Hunter is like waiting out by the ship.
I love it's a callback to the first episode too, because it's like basically in the first episode of the show, him and the boys are walking through a Camino, and he's like, "Halt! There's somebody behind us. We're being followed." And they look and they see Omega, and it's like the first time they meet Omega, And then, like, similar thing of, like, Omega's trying to sneak off and be sneaky. And he's like, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I can still track you.
Yeah. And it's like, alright, time to have
Father-daughter.
father-daughter talk.
Although it's really big brother and
Yeah.
little sister, because although she's the older one, actually, but, you know.
It's not what the situation is read as.
No, but she is the older sibling because she's made that joke before. She's like, oh, I was actually made before you guys, so that means I'm the older sibling.
And they look at her and they're like, yeah, no.
But yeah, no, this is...
Wrecker has the fucking highest HP in their group, I swear to God.
Yeah, that man tanks so much damage at the end in the finale. I'm so glad he made it, because they were starting to play into the idea of Wrecker's not gonna make it, and it's just like, no, you can't kill. You've already took Tech, that's fine, but you can't take Wrecker too. You can't take Happy Uncle Wrecker.
Yeah. I'm 90% sure that the only reason why the Bad Batch is still alive is because, not necessarily still alive, but in one semi-functional unit is because of Wrecker.
Yeah, because Wrecker's kind of like the one that's like, while he's the himbo of the group, and so he's not the smartest one. He's definitely the heart, and so he like Omega's the heart, but he's like the heart of the older of like the older members, and so he's the one that's like there to like. Although even he's kind of like, I don't want Crosshair back, but like, it takes Omega to do that. It takes Omega, but he's also the one to be more willing to listen to Omega if she says like, "Hey, we should give him a shot."
Mm-hmm. I do like how Echo, like when Crosshair and Hunter come back from their like excursion, Echo's like, "See, they worked it out again. And there isn't even any blood this time."
I love Echo's like when he first comes, like when it's time to go get, it's time to track down Omega. Echo comes back. He's like, "All right, where's our sister? I'm ready to go." Like he just shows up ready to go.
Like, I couldn't bring anyone else, but fuck it.
Yeah, I couldn't bring Rex. He's busy.
Rex is busy. With what? He's helping other people.
He's helping the rebellion.
Yep.
Or the early rebellion. Yeah. Early rebellion, because this is like even before Andor, so this is like early rebellion. This is everybody is in splinter groups and nobody agrees on the politics of the rebellion. Because you got Saw Gerrera's forces and you got all the different factions.
You got Mothma trying in the
Senate.
The Senate. Meanwhile, Saw's like, we gotta get them all.
Yeah, Saw is eat the rich. Let's go.
Meanwhile, the Bad Batch is like, can we please just get our sister?
Can we just hide?
Be left alone?
Can we just hide? But then, at the end, Omega's like, hey, I can't sit around because this is y'all had your war. Y'all fought for what you thought was necessary. It's my turn. And I think that's really like it once again shows the heart of Omega and how good of a person. Like she could just stay hidden and could just hang out with the Bad Batch for the rest of her life and not worry, but she's like, nope, I got to do this because it's the right thing. Because that's how she always is. She's whatever the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to end the show. It's similar to our discussion about bounty hunters and how it ends on like this. It ends all the main plot threads, but also leaves this openness to where if we want to explore more, we can, but we don't have to. And so, I think it's while it kind of sucks that it's the last season, because I wouldn't mind one more season. I think the story is told, so we're fine. Before when they first said that this was the last season, I was like, really? Already? Only 3 seasons? But now that it's over, I'm like, you know what? This was a good choice. You told your story, and because we talked about this. When a show goes on too long, it
can lose its meaning.
Yeah, and so I think this show knew where it was going. Knew the heart of what it wanted to tell, told it.
My rule of 3 to 7 seasons.
Yeah. And so it told its story and got out. And it saves, while Dave Filoni isn't as much of a, while he's the showrunner, because he's now in charge of all animation, and he definitely wrote the first episode of the show. while it's his show in some theory, it's Brad Rao. It's Brad and I want to get everybody's name. I want to make sure I give credit to everybody that was involved, because this show, Jennifer and Brad, and so like it's their show, and they did such a good job. And I think also the Dave Filoni-isms aren't as heavy in the show as other shows, and even then, like, the only thing I could see being a lesson that Dave Filoni brought into this is don't let the show run too long.
Yep.
Because that's a lesson he learned with Clone Wars. He ever since Clone Wars, he's talked about, like, because that's why Rebels only got 4 seasons. He was like, I want to end the show on my terms rather than it being canceled. Because that's what happened with Clone Wars. Clone Wars got canceled. He didn't get to finish it until years later when we got season 6 on Netflix and then season 7 on Disney Plus. So, like, and season 6 was directly after the cancellation on Cartoon Network. So season 6 was on Netflix like the next year, but then like we didn't finish the show until 5 or some odd years later on Disney Plus. And so that's when he finished the show. And so he's like, so Rebels was already done before that.
Yep.
And so he's like, yeah, I learned my lesson. I end the show on my terms. And so that means keeping it short. And so 4 seasons of Rebels, 3 seasons of Bad Batch, good enough for me. I am curious what the next animated project, like, because obviously in 2 weeks, because we're taking a week off, we're going to talk about an animated show because Tales of the Empire. That's our next topic next week. But as far as actual, like, content, like, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? An ongoing show. I'm using comic book terms because there's miniseries and ongoing, and I'd say Tales of the Empire is miniseries. So what is our ongoing show, next animated ongoing show gonna be? Because it seems that under the Disney Star Wars banner, they try to have at least one ongoing animated show, and then they'll have a bunch of live action shows all at once, right? Because, like, we got Mando, Andor, all those are live action shows, all running semi-simultaneously. Obviously, they're not airing in the same weeks, but they're, like, happening while other ones filming, right? Whereas animated, they seem to just have one main show, and then they'll do, like, some miniseries, like Visions or Tales of. So, like, what is our next ongoing going to be? And I don't know.
I do not know either.
If you were to, because I have a couple speculatory guesses, but I would love to hear yours first.
Oh, well,
if you were to speculate, like,
well,
just
clearly we're gonna have another season of Young Jedi Adventures.
Okay, that's an ongoing show, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Okay, that's an ongoing show, but that's Disney Junior. Sorry, yeah. I should be more specific.
Sorry.
What is coming from Lucasfilm Animation specifically? Specifically as a Disney Plus show.
Disney Plus.
So, like, Bad Batch was our Disney Plus Lucasfilm Animation show.
I don't know, man.
Like if you were to take a guess of what you think based on what we know is coming out. I have a couple guesses. Because there's really 2 directions they could go.
You go forward or you go backward.
But more specifically, you either do something in the sequel era, right? Try to do another sequel era show, because the last one was Resistance. They only had 2 seasons. It kind of got cut short, although season 2 kind of found its footing, but that's when they cut it off. But that was also a Disney XD show, so it's been a minute. So we have time, like, because that was while the sequel films were coming out. So the show was caught up with the movies, and because, like, season 2 was taking place when Resistance was, when Last Jedi is, and so, like, and Rise of Skywalker hadn't come out yet, so it was a situation of, well, what do we do for a season 3 anyways? Either we end up start spoiling the movie that's coming out.
I would like to see, like, if they did, I'm gonna be for real, I would love to see the Nihil in, like, a little
So you would like a High Republic
Yeah.
era. And that would be, I would think either High Republic, Old Republic. So I guess there's 3 directions. High Republic, Old Republic, and start feeding us the Old Republic. You know, starting to prep us for other time eras. Or they go forward, like they either go back to the sequel era or they go past it and start prepping us for the Rey movie, right?
Yeah.
But I would think they'd go sequel era. I don't think they would go directly in the middle of sequel era. I think they would stick closer to Mando era and try to prep us for the Mando and Grogu. I said Mandu because I was thinking Grogu at the same time. Mandalorian and Grogu film, and start prepping us for that film. But I think there's already so many shows in that era that they might just leave that era alone. Like that specific part of Star Wars, like the in between 6 and 7. I think they would leave that alone probably because there's just so many shows already there.
Yeah.
Because we're already... Skeleton Crew's this year also, so that's a show that's in that era. After Acolyte, we get Skeleton Crew, and that's a show directly in that era. So I think they'd leave that alone for a minute. Just because we already have so much, and plus we got Mando Season 4 along with the movie. We got Ahsoka Season 2. So there's so many things already in that era that we can just ignore. So probably either go past it. I don't think they're ready to do that, though. I think they would wait till after the Rey movie comes out, after New Jedi Order. So they'll probably wait. Because animated shows, the Star Wars shows tend to exist to explain the movies, right? Not the other way around. So I think they're going to leave that particular era alone until New Jedi Order comes out. And then they'll maybe do a show there. But as for what would exist before that, High Republic's probably the best bet.
Can you imagine how, like...
And it could be used to explain, like, Acolyte and the books. So, like, kind of, like, bridge that gap. Because there's still, like...
Yeah, there is, like,
there's still a huge gap.
Like, what happened?
Because after the books are done, there's still going to be a huge gap between the books and the Acolyte. Like, a huge gap. So, I think it's like a 100-year gap still. Or some odd, like 100 some odd change.
This may surprise you. Vernestra is cool. She's not my favorite Jedi. But she's not at Sav Maligan levels of, like, I don't care.
But it's still, like, cool to see her around, because, like...
Yeah.
If there was a character to be around and to have an interesting story...
It would be her.
Yeah. That or Buryaga. I'm surprised no Buryaga, actually. Because he's a Wookiee.
Buryaga should be around.
That might be a sign of what might happen to him in Phase 3, though. Which would be dumb, because we just got him back, so I don't think they'll kill him. Because it would be a weird thing to be like, we're gonna fake his death, and then immediately bring him back, and then kill him.
I would never love again.
So, I agree that High Republic's probably your prime chance, but also Old Republic, because people want Old Republic, and right now there's nothing filling that era.
Yeah, so it's also a pretty good spot. Like, if you want to just tell, for lack of a better term, a throwaway story that's not connected to anything, that would be a good place in the timeline to set it.
And that would be a way for, like, people like Jennifer or Brad or Dave or whoever is involved to be really creative with it. Because, like, we know vague things here and there. We know, like, because we have the timeline book. I have it right here, actually. So we have, like, very vague things of, like, what would happen in the Old Republic era. But, like, nothing, like, specific. And we know that characters like Revan exist, but we don't need that. You know, like, if you do an Old Republic show, I don't need you to retell the video. Like, I don't need the canon reinterpretation of Knights of the Republic. That's fine. Just give me Zane Carrick. Make a Zane Carrick show. Yeah, because we know about Momin. So that's probably the most specific thing we know in the Old Republic era. We know his master existed, Lady Shaw. We know Tar Vizsla, Mandalorian Jedi. That'd be something cool to see if they do an Old Republic show. Maybe seeing the Drengir get imprisoned. That would be cool. Old Republic era actually spans like 20,000 years.
Yeah, so there's plenty of time in the Old Republic.
So it's like 20,000 to like 320, like currently 500, which is the high. Actually, yeah, to 500 BBY. So 20,000 BBY to 500. So like 19,000, over 19,000 years of history that you could really dig into. And of course, now with the Dark Droids arc, we now have even another mysterious thing you could dig into with an Old Republic show.
A lot to talk about.
The Amaxine Warriors. We still don't know anything about them.
Who are they? We don't fucking know. They built a Maxine station, we think, and that's about it.
And so, like, and you can get away from Yoda because he doesn't really start becoming a Jedi Master till 796 BBY.
Yep.
So you can get away from any character we know and be able to tell a brand new story. So that would be the benefits to that. But I think High Republic's the more likely. But I don't know if they'd want 3 High Republic shows going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you got Young Jedi Adventures.
Dangerous.
Yeah, because then you start to
You might end up with
oversaturation. Yeah.
I was gonna say too many cooks in the oven, but that's not.
No, too many cooks in the kitchen. But I was gonna say oversaturation because that's not even really.
You got too many pots on the boil.
Yeah.
Like when you do something like that.
Yeah, because then you got Young Jedi Adventures.
Yep. The Acolyte.
And then
in this theoretical
show. Theoretical show that may or may not exist. So that would be 3 shows, and I mean, at the same time, that Mandalorian era has got like 5.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't care, and you know what? Maybe they don't, and you know what? I would not be mad either way. Give me High Republic, give me Old Republic, give me something different. I don't care. Some people are also saying maybe a sequel, like another show that immediately follows Bad Batch era. I don't know if we need that because then you're getting a little too close to Rebels era.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
We don't need something filling the gap between Bad Batch and Rebels. That we're fine because we still have a few years between Bad Batch and Rebels, but we don't need that.
Yeah. I'm glad the batch made it out.
But overall, I mean, 8 for the season. No. 9 for the season. And 9.5 for the show.
I'll give it an 8 overall because I haven't seen the first season.
That's fair.
Because of like
but
how
for,
we do
what
things.
about for the season? Like as a standalone season?
I'll give it. I'm gonna give it a 10. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, it's a strong. I considered it. It's a strong season. So, I loved it. You loved it. Go watch Bad Batch if you haven't.
As excited as like.
But
be,
yeah,
but
if you watch the show,
if you watch
know.
the podcast, you know why.
This is just Seth. This is just Seth.
My emotional. They're like, if we had stats right for everything.
You're at the highs right now.
My emotional stability is at like a 50.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign.
Yeah, like this is your highs. So yeah, this is good for Seth. So.
I'm also, as always, tired.
Yeah, because like he said, he finished watching it this morning at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So, dedication. Because the way I tried to, let's just say we had issues getting him to watch it. We'll leave it there.
I realized what the problem was once it was explained to me.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said.
But I'm notorious within our friend group for having technical difficulties regardless.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, go check out Bad Batch if you haven't. The entire show is on Disney Plus now. Next week we are off because he's going on.
I go to a family thing.
Yeah, he's got a family function, and then after that, the week after we will come back to talk Tales of the Empire, maybe more. We'll see because I'll send you the Tales of the Empire episodes, and then we'll, if you finish them really soon, then we can maybe start planning other things to talk about too. So we might have multiple things to talk about when we come back, but you'll know when the episode comes out. It'll say it.
We will see.
But thank you all for watching as usual. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check us out on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok at Escape Reality Films. Check us out at Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Caleb.Lockwood. On Twitter at Escape Reality 94, and Patreon is linked down below, and that is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Thank you.
Who is one of our patrons. At our second tier, you can watch our YouTube content before it is released publicly, including the podcast right now, since we've been pre-recording them. And then Discord. If you want to become a part of our community, Discord is linked down below, where you can just be a part of our community and hang out. And Thursdays we usually try to do a hangout thing, and so yeah. This will probably be the last time you're gonna.
I'll still do it.
Yeah, because they're friends of the channel.
Yeah.
So, but this is the last time you will be a part of it.
Yes,
so go ahead and.
So, every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch some friends of ours over at the Steam Dungeon on YouTube at Trials of Nebu. Oh man, things are gonna go great. This
is going to be because your schedule is just getting so busy that you are having to unfortunately drop this game.
Mm-hmm.
But they are doing a send-off episode for you, and so that's going to be aired on there. It's youtube.com/Steam Dungeon, and it's Trials of Nebu.
Mm-hmm.
If you still want to watch them when they're live, although this one's going to be pre-recorded.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch their live episodes, it's Sundays at 5 to 7 Central Standard Time.
Also, the reason why we're having to pre-record it is Sunday is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So there's that. And
so
also,
no episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
At least not live.
At least not live.
So there will probably be an episode up, but it just won't be a live one. And so, yeah.
It's a weird space for me to be in.
So,
for what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so yeah, let's not ruin it too much. But it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be great. It's a send off to him. It's gonna be pre-recorded.
Yes.
Yeah, same
because
day
I'm
as
having to pre-record things.
Yeah, so same day, and so yeah, so when by the time that this is out, he's done
tomorrow.
The day of recording tomorrow, you're pre-recording. Okay.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Anyways, by the time this will be out,
time is fucky because of your perception of when this happens.
By the time this is out, he has pre-recorded it already.
I'm using my stand ability.
Anyways, check out our friends there. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play for their game too way back, and he's also been in our Star Wars game back when I did Edge of the Empire. So check them out. Great content. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
So, thank you all for watching once again. See you all in 2 weeks. And I have spoken.
Y'all be safe out there.